7,000 naira here. 7,000 naira, sir. So you are deliberately ignoring me. 7,000 for him. Sir, you know the value of this book, sir. Yes. 7,000 there. 40,000 naira. 40,000 naira. That's how people who know book. 40,000 naira. 40,000 naira. Sir, he has just added 40. Add anything. If it's 1,000, said, I know you love this book. 40,000 naira. Haja. Well, you don't like books. You like Yeah. So we know the rules. That he said 40,000 means he's going to give us only 33,000 because we already had 7,000. Yes. He's going to. You had 6,000. So he's giving 34. You are giving. I thought you added 1,000 again. Huh? Okay, so he's going on 7K. Okay. So we have a tax master here with that. So can I just sell, sir? Just add something and sell for you. 4. You bought, so you can buy and give somebody. Who needs this book? Raise your hand if you need. See them, sir. Look back. They are your potential off-takers. Alright, 40,000 going 1. Where is that? You are not into charity. 40,000 going 1. I want to sell this book. It's actually worth 40,000 because each one of them is 10,000. Sir? Each of the book is 10,000. Have you changed your mind? 40,000 going 1. Add something I'll sell for you. 40,000 going 1. 42,000 here. 42,000 very quickly. 42,000. 42,000 going 1. 42 going 2. 42 is giving you money. When people give you money, just forget documentation. It's the taxman that just gave us 42,000. So he has beaten you. You know your own is. So what did you call that money that we cannot spend? He says money for future sales. Have you? Deposit for future sales. That's his own. His own is even undeposited. Yes, but his own is cash at hand. Your own is the bed in the bush.
The problem is the one that is suffering.
He's the one. So they are challenging you. He said you should add something. Yeah, you should add more. Where are we now? Actually, he's the author of the book.
I know, that's why
yes.
I'm confused now.
No, he's buying from me. I'm the one selling it now. I'm the bookshop. I bought, it's 10,000 actually per copy. So go in one, sir. You want? You are waiting for the free copy? Or you want to photocopy? Okay, I want to close. Where did we stop? 42? 42. So you are keeping track. 42,000. So I should sell for you. I know you like this book. 42,000 going 1. 42,000 going 2. Okay, you should say something. Yes, 42,000. Want to sell to him, sir? You say you should add something. 43,000. 43,000. Sir, add something. Let me sell for you. Anything. 44,000 here. You are tired? You give up? You don't like competition? Okay. You will live long, sir. 43,000 going 1. 43,000 going 2. 43,000, ladies and gentlemen. If no one is selling, I'm buying. If no one is buying, I'm selling. Going 1, going 2, going 45,000. 45,000 going 1. 45,000 going 2. 45,000, if no one is selling, I'm saying, chief, myself, I'm going 1, going 2. They add. Bros, why are you looking at me like that? You didn't bring cash. We collect transfer. I want to sell this quickly. 43. Abi, how much you did? 45. 45. 45 going 1. 45 going 2. 45. So I think. Look at the book. Look at it, sir. All right, 46,000 here. 46,000. The next row. This back row are challenging the front row. 46,000 going 1. 46,000 going 2. 46,000. I cannot sell 4 books at 46,000. Sir, is that fair? I reduce it to 1, please. Please, please, please. I'm selling only 1. $46,000 going 1 is what you are getting now. 46,000 going 2. 46,000 if there's no one else I'm selling to him. Going 1. 40 what? 47. 50,000 there. I see, this person will never pay plenty money. 50,000 if there's no one else I'm selling. Going 1. Going 2. 50,000 going. Sir? Did you call me? I thought you called me now. You're just bowing your head in prayer. 50,000 for the lady in pink. For the lady in pink, 50,000 going 1.
Pink or orange?
It's orange.
Now, okay, why they say pink from far? Don't worry, all of them are fruit. Pink, berries, and orange. 50,000 going 1. 50,000 going 2. 50,000, ladies and gentlemen. If no one is buying, I'm selling. Going. Why if you say that people will not contribute, they should go? Why? Why we say now that they just gone? Okay, PA, add something, let me say. You don't like books. You have read all. Okay, go in. Go. Collect our money.
I've been around in the last 3 days. You would have noticed that things are not exactly the way they seem. The real estate market in Africa is taking a new dimension. A lot of things have changed. There's a disruption going on across the globe, and Africa is not left behind. What I have been emphasizing is that 3D printing machine is going to take over the housing space in the next few years. And I'm begging the Nigerian government to create the enabling environment so that we can participate. We'll begin to deliver like 1,000 houses in 2 weeks. That's the only way we can bridge the gap. And except we accept this, we embrace this new innovation, we'll be left behind. We're already far behind. 20 million is an understatement. The housing gap deficit is above 20 million. If you go into the fringe of the society, you see that it's above 20 million. The data is not correct. It's above 20 million. If you go beyond Abuja, if you go beyond every urban area, you will notice that it is beyond 20 million. The deficit in housing is beyond 20 million. We don't have the capacity to fund these houses to bridge the gap. The financial capacity is not there. We need a unified land registry to be able to do this. Because we don't have a proper land registry. If you go to Lagos, you'll be confused. If you go to Port Harcourt, the worst. You buy a land, register it, and at the same time, people will still come and drag the land. You have fenced the property, they will break down everything. I've seen it with my eyes. In Lagos, my monies are hanging in more than 3 different properties, despite searching. Let's forget Abuja, where you buy a CFO, and at the end of the day, somebody will come and contend with you, and if he's stronger than you, will take the property from you. The Land Use Act was supposed to address all this, but because it was designed to favor only the government, it cannot achieve that. So there's a need to review the Land Use Act, and if it is properly done by allowing stakeholders to make input, because what was designed for government and for government alone. And the reason why that it was selfishly done, and that's why we are having all the problems we have. So if we have a unified land registry system where every single land is bankable and you can register and you can use them to receive funding like a collateral, you can also use that land for development, things will change. And if government can create the enabling environment, people will be able to build these printing machines. There's nothing Nigerians cannot fabricate. If you create the enabling environment. If you go to Aba, they are building everything. Even laboratory machines that they use to run tests, they are building them in Aba. Yes. So don't tell me they can't build 3D printing machines, they can build them. But if you don't create the enabling environment, it will not happen. That's why we have to begin to look beyond cement, look beyond the basic things that have been in place for so long, because a bag of cement is over 5,000 naira. If we have a 3D printing machine that can use clay or use laterite with low ratio cement, we deliver houses and everybody is happy and the gap is bridged. Because the most important thing is that every Nigerian needs to own a home. You should have where you lay your head. It is very important. So my challenge for us once again is that let's look beyond the conventional ways of doing things in Africa, especially in Nigeria. Government need to wake up and deliberately allow the review of the Land Use Act of 1978. It's no longer, it's obsolete, outdated, no longer useful. The world has gone beyond what is in that act. And if we have to meet up with what is happening across the globe, it must be reviewed. But the political will is not there. So it will take both the government and the private sector, the National Assembly, to come together and agree that we need to review this. If the private sector agree and the National Assembly are saying no and federal government are saying no, it cannot be done. But somebody has to drive the course. And it has to start from somewhere. I want you to start from this conference. So every press person here, take this back home to the government. We need to review the Land Use Act. And I can assure you that we'll have a better Nigeria. Thank you very much. I'm just appreciating it.
Thank you very much. You just promised me a land. Thank you very much. There are some people who are born prepared. And as a practitioner, he's very active in the field. And he knows the things that need to be done. Yes. But what he's trying to do is going to eliminate the squatter system. We are not exploring the issue of clay. I know that when I was growing up in Kano, it used to be clay, mud houses. And some of them have lasted hundreds of years and they are still good. So what happened to it? Our builders, I think we also should challenge you. There's something in clay that we are not looking at. And we have abundance of it. Very soon now, people will now be fencing their mud area and say, look, this is my quarry site. So what we should look inward. There's materials that we can be sourced locally. And that's why housing is expensive. I used to think that it's only when oil becomes scarce, fuel is scarce because we have to buy petrol, take the crude outside this country and refine it. But it's meant everything is done locally here. So why is it still expensive? So it's something we should ask the practitioners to help us answer. If our projector is ready, the projector, is it ready? Is it ready? The projector. The projector, is it imported too? It was deported from China.
Yes.
This paper is very important. And that's why I'm actually stalling so that the presenter can have all he needs to make a good presentation. There are some people who know how to make presentations speaking to their slides. And it's important that we hear that from this presenter. It's day 3, and then we are getting closer and closer to the last part. We have a small panel later on. We also will have an auction of houses, not of books, of houses. And we have someone who will win a land at some point. Please, I also want to appeal to those who are in the exhibition stands. If you have up to 4 or 3 people in the exhibition stand, please reduce some. Let some come and stay here. Let others wait for the clients to come. You can keep your best client officer at your stand and allow others to come and sit here, because it's important. They should learn something from this place. You already know how to sell, but you need to learn quality and stakeholder issues in this place. So please let us do this quickly. Our auctioneers are here. I don't know if we should take the auction before we go, since we are still waiting for the projector. Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right. So please, let's welcome those in charge of the auctions. They have a few properties for us while we're waiting to fix the projector. Please clap for my Oga at the top.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm standing on the existing protocol. I am auctioneer Solomon Ukotie. You are welcome to this program. And, Maoga, welcome, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate the convener of this conference, Mr. Frank Ajayi. Thank him for this great conference, bringing people of like minds together. And today, we're supposed to have auction sale of this land day before yesterday, and again today. So we have 180 square meter at Hilltop Estate, Hillside Villa 5 at Lugbe, just after Voice of Nigeria. But before you participate, you have to register. You have to register and you have your numbers. So you go to our stand there, the science stand, then you can go and register and get your number ready. You come there. Oh, that will not be on the stand.
I will buy distress ones. There must be somebody who has bought who cannot build it. I will collect it from you. Please put your moderator panel very quickly so we can move on. And I'm encouraged for Furi Uwagbali. Please put your hands together for her as she comes up. Our male ushers, can you help us with this podium, please? Male ushers.
Osilama Global. Please, a round of applause for our panelists. Our second panelist speaker for today is Mr. Adedayo Adeshina, immediate past National President of Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. A round of applause, please. Our third panelist speaker of today is Mr. Franklin, CEO Simaloid Limited, convener IRECE Abuja. Please, let's clap. Again, sir. Thank you so much. So our fourth panelist speaker for today is Mr. Giuliano Sella, an Italian construction expert. Please, a round of applause. Thank you. Please, let's clap. Thank you so much. Okay, so my first question will be going to Mr. Franklin, CEO of Simon Lloyd Limited and the convener of IRECE Abuja, the reason why we are here today. My first question is, what inspired you to initiate the International Real Estate Conference, and what vision do you hold for its impact on the industry?
Okay, thank you very much. What basically inspired me was a few years ago I was in the midst of some developers. We had some discussions spanning from the business of real estate, selling properties and all that, up into construction, and then concerning the management, the human capital management, the staff's management and all that. And I realized in that conversation there was a huge gap. There was so much. I kept talking and it was looking now like that it was a lecture, and I realized that it was necessary we begin to have take a conscious effort to educating especially players in the industry, because the amount of what you know determines how far you go. And then gradually I observed that developers are actually beginning to of course make a little here and there, but there's still limitations, and that's one of the reasons IRECE was actually inspired.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. That's enlightening. Thank you for that. My next question will be going to Mr. Adedayo Adishino. In regards to tax implication on real estate transactions, my question is, how do changes in taxation policies impact real estate transactions in Nigeria? And what considerations should professionals in the industry keep in mind?
Thank you very much. When it comes to transactional tax, it has to do with policy of the government. And naturally, when you are talking about inventory, I said it earlier, what constitutes your inventory may be my own capital asset. But what you buy and sell every day has to do with real estate. So you are about to have issues of transactions ongoing, and that is why you have to be dealing with good understanding of where VAT comes into your transaction, value-added tax, where issues of other forms of taxes affect the ultimate value of what you are selling. And this is very important. Now, the government of the day, as we have it today, is talking about tax policies and fiscal reform. If this fiscal reform is effectively carried out, the emphasis is to actually reduce the cost of transaction. But until that is done, we have to abide by the existing position. And that has to do with you being mindful of the various forms of transactions, taxes you have to deal with. You have to deal with value-added tax. You have to deal with other forms of property taxes in the course of that. But that is from the real estate side. Now from the consumer side, especially when you are now talking about you want to sell a land or you want to sell even a bungalow, and that point you'll be talking about somebody making a gain. Is that a gain that can be taken as an extraordinary gain? That is a gain you don't make all the time. That could be an individual. If I should sell a property today, it's not the same thing as my brother Franklin selling it on a consistent basis. I may sell a property now and not even bother talking about maybe that's the only property I have. Or maybe that's just one of two or three. So this area we'll be talking about capital gains tax, because I would have made a gain, and this time around it is not in my ordinary course of business. Those are the transaction taxes that comes along in the course of dealing with issues like this.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, sir. Still on you, I would like to ask regarding property taxation strategies. Can you share insights into the effective taxation strategies for real estate developers and majorly investors in Nigeria?
Now, okay, maybe that's an area that maybe is gradually taking me to the area of Franklin and my brother here. Now, naturally, what makes a property appreciate? Infrastructure is one. You may just realize that infrastructure comes from property here in this case. Of what happened in the case of Shimawa, Lagos, very close to Redeem. When we got that property in the course of time, it was about 600,000. Then the first thing the company did was to talk about actually addressing the infrastructural deficit, building a wall and then doing so many other things. Right before our presence, the property appreciated. So when you are dealing with transaction, the magnitude, then the forest again comes in. Forest started dealing with Naira in the course of talking about exchange rate. So all this keeps appreciating in value. And immediately that property appreciates in value, the transactional tax relating to it equally doubles up. So these are all areas that borders on that. But you cannot say transactional tax would be the basis of you not talking about your income, because income is the objective of the real estate developer.
Do you foresee shaping the real estate industry in the coming years?
My personal observation of the market right now, I would say the major trend that will be shaping the industry in the next few years will be technology. Technology, because that would be a major disruption where somebody can sit in his room in New York, in Nigeria, and inspect a property in somewhere like Lekki, inside the house, go through from the ground floor up to the last floor. That would be a major disruption people should prepare for. Where you want to sell a property, you are in Lagos, and the property is in Abuja, and the person that wants to buy is also in Lagos with you. And you just take the person through the property right from your phone. This is the city room, this is how it is, and this is how it is. View even the premises and everything, and make payment. And another disruption within the technology cycle also will be your ability to search from where you are. That is, you'll be able to confirm if a property is genuine 100% from where you are. If we can have a leader that can be bold enough to take the bold step of overlooking that political weed has always been the issue and address the issue of land registry, like I earlier said, it will be easy to search from anywhere. These things are already there, it's just for them to be corrected and take out those hindrances and bottlenecks and make it possible. Those are human obstacles. They are deliberate bottlenecks. Those stumbling blocks are deliberately put there for transactional sake. But if you take them out of the way, we'll be able to search. Like if we have a database for all the genuine CFO in Metama, for instance, once you go to your phone, you go to Aegis and you check Metama, it will show you all the lands in Metama. Then you go to the particular plot number, it will show you the owner of the land. It's possible. So we should prepare for all this. And so many other things, like I earlier said, 3D construction is going to take over the space across the globe. Doctor just asked me some few questions and I showed her. She can see that it's a normal machine that you use to print papers. The concept, the drawing, like an architect would design a house and feed the information into the machine will receive it into its memory and print just like you print a flyer, like you print a whole house, it will be standing. You go inside and sleep inside. Let's prepare for that in the next few years.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Still on innovation and technology, I would like to ask, as a leader in the industry, how do you encourage the adoption of these new technologies within your organization and the broader sector?
Well, my greatest desire is to see that we meet up with what is happening all over the world. So it has a lot to do with government policy, because government policy has to create the enabling environment. Everything is about government. It's about 80% government. The private sector cannot do anything. The little we can do is that we will be interested in technology. If government does not create the enabling environment, for instance, even if you have the capacity, financial capacity to import a 3D machine, printing machine to come and build houses for you, maybe you want to deliver maybe 5,000 houses, and you have a very limited time to do it. Before you import the machine, the bottlenecks within the seaport and all that, the clearing and all that in the maybe Lagos Tinker Port, and you may be stopped.
Yes.
It may not deliver. You may not deliver, and you have problem. So it has a lot to do with government policy. Government has to sit down with stakeholders. Government are not reservoirs of knowledge. They don't know everything, but that's how they operate. They ignore all the relevant stakeholders and take decisions on behalf of everybody and expect it to work. That's why they always fail. They have to bring in the stakeholders to a table, sit with them, and everybody will agree and make input to whatever they want to come up with. And the policy will now make sense. By the time they are implementing the policy, it will work. But when you come up with a policy that will affect everybody and you don't carry the people that is going to affect along, you have problem when you're implementing it. That is, it will fail. That means it will fail before you even start implementing. That's the biggest problem we have in this part of the world. So I would like to speak to government. If we have their representative here, they should create the enabling environment so that we can have a better Nigeria.
All right, great. Thank you so much. Everyone in Nigeria. So I would like to know, over your 26 years in Nigeria, how have you seen the construction industry adapt to the local environment, regulations, and everything that has to do with culture?
Well, I think I had to adapt to the culture and the local. But there's been a difference in construction starting from 25 years ago to date. Especially here in Abuja, the quality that has come out from some of the buildings here in Abuja is a very, very good quality. Like I said 2-3 days ago, there is still very good construction company, but more importantly, there is a lot of good engineers, Nigerian engineers, that they know how to apply. It's just that sometimes they are not empowered with what they should be able to do. The financially, it goes always back to the company where they say no, you can't spend so much, you have to spend less. It's a normal thing to try to save money, but quality has a price. Quality has a limit to what you can decay a building or a project. With regards to improvements, there is still a gap. There is still a lot. There is the 3D printing that our friend was talking about. There is also the prefabrication aspect of it, which it takes a while to prepare it, but then it's 1,000 houses like he's talking about. I can't say in 15 days, but in a year it's 1,000 houses easily. And you know, but those practices are not being put into place because of the fear of some of the Nigerian client would like to see a block wall, not knowing that a prefab wall is even stronger and better than that. But there is definitely an improvement from the last 20 years. I still use bamboos to do my decking, even though other people come and use the steel. Bamboo, they're still working well. I mean, Japan and China, they're still using bamboos to go up to 30, 40, 50 more floors. So I don't see why we shouldn't be using it here. But, you know, the eye, what the client is looking for when they come to site to see a site, to see a building, to see if there's a possibility to buy. They like to see professionality. And that one has definitely improved since the last 10 to 12 years.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
I would rather not talk about it. But the problems that I've been the problem I've been having is basically the local governments, the government itself, the agencies that they keep on coming, rightfully so. But the problem is the propagating of the requirement, the needs, and whatever they are asking for. So to that respect, I have managed to usually not really show myself to site, because as my skin attracts a lot, I have a lot of people what my requirement is. So yes, it's been difficult, but it's achievable.
All right, great. Thank you so much. A round of applause for that, please. Thank you for that. My next question will be going to every panelist seated, starting with Mr. Franklin. In your experience, what are the most significant challenges currently facing the real estate sector, and what innovative solutions do you see emerging?
Okay, I think firstly, there are quite a number of them. I think firstly is finance. Finance is actually a challenge for that's actually limiting the industry. Access to funds is actually a major issue. In other climes, for you to do real good business, you have loans, digits that's single digits, 1 or 2%. But here in the country, an average commercial bank cannot service a construction firm or an estate development firm, because the interest rates basically will wipe out every investment that the person has actually put. That's one. Then secondly, it's I'll call it structure.
Populists are the people that are supposed to call government to order by going to court and seek the redress. When government come up with a policy that affects you directly, you have a right to go to court and ask for interpretation. These things we don't do in Nigeria. The next thing you hear is that it is well. Somebody will just take the other space and go away. We are supposed to seek redress and make sure that we ask the court to interpret for instance, what is happening here. Somebody needs to go to court and ask the court to interpret it. Does it have the power to compel me to pay for CFO within 4 months? Somebody has to do that. But if nobody is doing it, I'm a businessman, I have a lot at stake, I can't do it. I can't do it. And it doesn't really affect me. It affects my subscriber. People who bought for me are the people that it's affecting directly, not me. So these are a lot of things. I will want to stop there. I have so many things to say, but I'm just trying to control myself because it's a public forum. So pardon me, please. Okay,
great. Thank you so much for that. A round of applause for that, please. Still on you, sir. In your role as the Redan FCT chairman, I would like to ask, how do you foster positive relationships amongst real estate developers and the communities they operate in?
Well, it's not easy to be a leader. I have led in so many organizations, and one of the most difficult one is Redan. I was one time a assistant national secretary of Redan, but the experience as a chairman is completely different. because as a chairman, it looks like you are like a governor. So from that office, you are dealing with billionaires. You are dealing with billionaires who don't even see you as anything, especially when they feel that they have money more than you. You can't really control them. When you come up with ideas, even when they are interested in the ideas, they first of all just take it with a pinch of salt and just kick it away and make it look like nonsense. How I relate to them is just the leadership spirit of interacting with everybody, making everybody feel that we're all the same. We have so many other upcoming estate developers to bring them to your level. That's what I do, and make them feel that they are very important. Then those of them that I feel they have a lot of money more than me, I also interact with them. I just place everybody on the same level, and that has helped me. And how they relate with the community, if they come to me that they have issues with community, I will counsel them. I've been around for some time, so I know that if you do the needful, you won't have issues with the community. And the needful is that you give them what they ask for. If you do that compensation, and maybe during Yuletide and other festive period, you give them something, maybe a bag of rice to the chief, and maybe a borehole in the community, and so many other things like that. You just be enjoying your business, and it will look like you are using something. It's just wisdom.
All right, great. Thank you so much for that. My next question will be going to Mr. Adidayo Additional. This is in regards to VAT and real estate transactions. I want to know, how does VAT affect real estate transactions, and what should stakeholders in the industry be aware of in this regard?
Thank you. Let me first mention the principles of VAT. It operates in an input-output mechanism. It is administered by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Now, naturally, the final consumer of every transaction bears the VAT. Naturally. Because if a real estate person, you are talking about two real estate persons here, for example, if Franklin bought from my brother here, the first thing is that, okay, a VAT is charged to him, and that becomes his own input VAT. Because he's still going to sell. Ultimately, it is in the point of selling that he now had another VAT to his own case. So that way he is able to recover the one he sold, the one he bought from him, in order for a final consumer, because the final consumer bears this in terms of this thing. So naturally, I think it's 7.5% presently. And that way, you are looking at your cost structure and say, this is what I want to sell to you. This is the amount you are paying, inclusive of this. And I will take it now and remit to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, because it's not my direct. So the aspect that borders on the fact that you are about consuming something I'm selling, which is not the final product for me, but final to you, you pay this amount. So the mechanism of VAT operates on the refund mechanism basis. It is too technical. Maybe I won't go too much into the technicality, but that is the principle behind it. Now, when we are now talking about structures as it goes, I mentioned something yesterday in the course of doing intervention, that when you are talking about houses, if the house is made for commercial purpose, then you're talking about the issue of withholding tax aspect, which is the other aspect that people confuse along with VAT. But if you are living in a residential accommodation, you don't withhold tax from your landlord's money. Please, that should be noted. Don't say, oh, they said they've just taught me tax, they say I should withhold tax. If you are living in a residential accommodation, don't withhold tax. If the man tells you to pay 10,000 naira, pay him his 10,000 naira, because you are living in that place. Because you are not registered for VAT. Mind you, look at that, my comment. You are not registered for VAT. So you are not also registered as a tax collecting agent for the government there, because it is the accommodation where you live and reside in. These are all areas that borders on that. But the aspect of taxation and real estate is a technical thing that may require a consultant intervention ultimately, if I have to put it that way.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for that. A round of applause for that, please. Still back to you, Mr. Additional. So yesterday we talked about affordable housing, and there was a whole lot of deliberations regarding that. So I want to ask, given the push for affordable housing, how can taxation policies be tailored to support initiatives that aim to make housing more accessible in Nigeria?
Thank you. In fact, this is a wonderful question. I will take it this way. Taxation policy should be done from an incentive perspective. You see, it is not the tax we are talking about that becomes the issue. Taxation policy should be done in terms of encouraging companies to go into this particular sector, addressing the policy that makes them, if possible, even giving them tax holiday. Because there are two categories of this thing that tends to have challenges in Nigeria. Those in the agricultural sector. Most of them mention the fact that a lot of their products as a result of lack of storage system goes to waste. Then those are people that should be given incentive effectively. Then another set of people is when you look at the housing deficit in a country that is growing every minute. We are talking 400 million. At 200 and something million, we still have housing deficit that we are not addressing. So when we get to 400 million, what is going to happen? We are going to have a crisis. So we should talk about policies that encourage public-private partnership. And by giving them tax incentives, that is one. People don't go into business strictly because of tax. They go into business because of so many things, like he mentioned earlier, relating to policies on land use, policy on so many areas. So let's make the policy friendly and not make the tax look stringent. So tax policy should be reviewed in such a way that it encourages people to build house. And then it's not just about talking about National Housing Fund, Federal Mortgage Bank. Give tax policy to encourage people to invest, so that investors will now know that government support the initiative we are talking about. Policy is the first thing, and what policy is addressed, administration and application of this issue will become a straightforward thing. That's my view.
All right, great. Thank you so much for that. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Adeshina. Okay, my next question is to Mr. Franklin. This is in regards to collaboration in the real estate industry. I would like to know, real estate often involves collaboration across various sectors. My question is, how do you see partnerships and collaborations contributing to the growth of the industry, and what advice do you have for professionals seeking such collaborations?
Okay, thank you very much. I think I like this question. I'll start by this. There's no growth that would happen in the industry without collaboration. No man is an island, no organization is actually an island. We need everybody to put their hands on deck to be able to build the industry in the country. That's one. Then secondly, when you go into those partnerships and those collaborations, now how do you cross your T's and dot your I's? It's very important that even the best of us, even in other climes, I was talking with Adeshina yesterday, that even the best of us had made mistakes. And talked about Steve Jobs, that he was even kicked out of his company because he brought people to collaborate to bring out, to make Apple what it is. So it's important that while we make those collaborations, while we do those
learned over the years, what are some of the key lessons you've learned from your experience in the Nigerian construction sector, and how do you think these lessons can benefit others in the industry?
It came out of the activity that I do, which is basically construction. Now, by doing the proper and the right thing, you gain a name and you gain continuation of business. And this is what I would like to pass on to, especially the engineers that work for me and the administration people that are working for me, to always be straightforward and always try to not to better. You don't have the people that would like to invest, like in the prefabrication, the printing, to invest in an activity that, if it's managed well, and it will end up being a continuous thing. I went and I looked at a factory that was done here by a Chinese company, not too far away from Abuja. And this factory had everything that was needed. The Chinese were kicked out. They were not asked out. They were kicked out. And somebody bought them out. The factory has been sitting for the last 2 years and 3 years, always trying to bargain with somebody, how much for this, how much will you come and help me with, how much. Once you buy the factory, you have to buy the knowledge to be able to start and continue and do a proper job. I was approached. I turned around 2 minutes later and walked off because they were no serious. And it's a 750 million naira project investment that they did. And it was all worth it because even the crash with the borrow pit was still available. So the quality was also pretty good. The last time I passed, there was not even NEPA in the place.
All right, great. Thank you so much for that. Please, we would be going into the final questions right away. Before we do that, if you have questions, please just write it down. But if you would like to ask, that's fine as well. So my last questions for today, and this is to every panelist speaker seated here. Considering the dynamic nature of the real estate industry, what do you believe are the key factors that will shape its trajectory in the next decade, and how should professionals prepare for these changes? Mr. Osilama.
Thank you very much for this another opportunity. Like I've said before, I will still re-emphasize technology. Technology, and every key player should prepare. Open your mind and learn new things. Don't leave yourself the way you are. Things are changing, and if you don't adjust to the changes, you'll be left behind. Technology is going to take the center stage in real estate across the globe. If you go to other parts of the world, it has taken the stage already. But because we are Africans, there's a way we think. I want to appeal to every industry participant to pay attention to technology. It will take center stage, and if you are not up to date, you'll be left behind, no matter how much you have. That's how you find obsolete factories. You see a factory that costs a lot of money is abandoned. You see houses that were built so many years ago. If they are not either renovated or upgraded, they will become obsolete. So technology is something to give attention to. And government policy is something that should be addressed in Nigeria. We need to vote in people that will have the political will to do what is expected. Let's not just vote in people because we like their faces. When we go to election ground, let's look at people that have capacity. Even though we know that the system is not very easy, even if you make your choice, they will still push up somebody that they didn't vote. Let's just keep trying, because we need the round peg in the round hole to be able to get it right. Because if you don't have the right professional holding a particular office, there's nothing you can do. For instance, if you have a lawyer, a very sound lawyer, who has been able to build his personal house as a minister for housing, he cannot deliver. Though he has supervised his personal house, he's not trained for that job. He's a lawyer. He cannot think like somebody that went through the four wall and has seen some.
When we keep looking at what medical disease says, smokers are liable to die young. But some people still smoke. Then you talk about issues of alcoholic drinks. Some people still take it. But when you now realize that, okay, it costs you more because of excise duties and so many other things there, you now realize that, oh, you are now engaging in a luxury item because government is punishing that with maybe 100%. Now, we give a final example before I now even talk about specific address. We went to Qatar. Qatar introduced something called Sintas. Because of it is a purely Islamic this thing. They made it clear that, okay, because they have a country where a lot of people are coming into the country, more expatriates are there than even indigenes. So what they do was to actually make sure that they put that thing, which we call sin tax for this purpose, that at the end of the day, when you pay that tax, they use it to develop their hospitals. When you get to their hospitals, you will feel like falling sick. Because it's like a 7-star hotel. But when you come to the Nigerian type of this thing, now even if you are sick, you will get well. So you can see the fundamental difference. And we visited there, we said, wow, is this really a public hospital that at the end of the day looks so beautiful? So these are directional aspects that have to do with government being focused. These are the areas that we believe that government actually all over the world is focusing on this aspect of environmental tasks. Because the issue is that if the environment is not made conducive, where do we go? Even climate change is even something we should be talking about. If you are seeing the level of flooding that is happening now, it's making nonsense of the whole system. So all these are areas where government should be addressing. I hope that by the time they are through with the reform, a lot of issues will come out.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for.
Okay.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Now, on the aspect of the trajectory in terms of the direction we should be aiming at, let us get something very clear. The fact remains that when it comes to housing project and deficit aspect of it, we should get this clear. Who are the people? Who is our target market? How do we intend to address this issue? Because whether we like it or not, the poor will always exist. Is the truth. Because the truth of the matter is that we call ourselves middle class or high class. We don't want our children to be. But the truth of the matter is, for those who are interested in taxation, the Tax Institute presently admits anybody who is of any discipline. But the challenge of the Nigerian model is still the Nigerian discipline. Most people, when they hear about tax, they are thinking of inland revenue, internal revenue service. There are limited number of people those people can engage. But now at the level of even our corporate entity, even as a company, when you look at over 12 types of taxes, then we all need compliance officers in our various organizations. We need to have a compliance officer, even if it's just a school cert holder, to ensure that we're on the right side of the law. Because you see, the truth of the matter, compliance is easy. Non-compliance is terrible. It doesn't even speak well of you. Because when you are dealing with foreign company, for example, and you say you are defaulting in your tax issue, they will not respect you, because in their country, they take tax issues seriously. So we need to have compliance officers within every establishment. And then you cannot be talking about administrators in the various revenue service. But anybody, irrespective of their qualification, can become a tax person.
All right, great. Thank you so much for that. A round of applause for that. Now we'll go into the question and answer segment. If you know you have a question, we'll just be taking 2 questions. If you have a question, please just...
Thank you very much. My name is Honorable Higato Isaac. I represent Samraf Consultants. Mine is not a question, actually a contribution with regards to the position my brother Sulaiman took. He has actually been hammering on issue of government policy and policy. And as a development expert, I'm particularly concerned about that, because more than none, we kind of lament over issues, but not providing solution. However, I think there is a way out. Now, first and foremost, we must understand what we actually mean by policy or public policy. Simply put, it is what the government intends to do or did not do to alleviate the problem. However, what is the role of organizations like this in helping to shape policies? You are practically almost, you as the taker of responsibility. But however, I'm not talking more professionally anyway. It is high time that organizations like this begin to partner with organizations like us in developing and reactivating policies. Now, how do you help to reshape policy, for example? Let me give you a particular example first. Just recently, there is agitation for the change of the electoral act. Even if it was just passed 2022, people are already agitating nationwide. And as we speak, the National Assembly is already looking at it. It is high time also that real estate agents nationwide begin to agitate for the reactivation or the visit to the Land Use Act. It's an act of the National Assembly. But do you know that through private member bill sponsored by the association, through lobbying, that bill actually be visited? By so doing, you are working towards what? Reactivating. You have a role to play in that regard. We cannot begin to say it is National Assembly. How are bills sponsored and deployed at the House? I don't know if you are following Mr. Sulaiman. You have government executive bills. You have private member bills. Private member bills can be...
Okay, my name is Honorable Higato Isaac. I'm a consultant with Samraf Consultancy Global. We are development experts. We build capacity on governance and leadership. Today we are going to participate in this conference, deliberately to help to give a direction beyond developers working just within themselves, but also see the opportunity of collaborating with developers, those who can help to design or reshaping policies in the environment where they operate. So that's why we are here. We're here for the past 3 days. It has been beautiful, worldwide. Of course, it is good to collaborate and be able to know you can perform the extent to the level of knowledge you have. When people attend events like this, you know what is trending in the industry. Then at the same time, you are able to also recalibrate your thought pattern to be able to fit in and also take up new initiatives. So I encourage everybody that is in the real estate industry, who is in the development industry, that even those who are even doing things in politics, to participate in things like this so you can know what is trending and what is trending.
When you work there? I'm a retired civil servant. What can you say about the government doing more for housing deficit? What can you do to prevent that? They want to cover up housing deficit. I think what the government needs to do is acquisition more easily available for the private sector, because government cannot do that. And when they make that easy for them, and also to encourage make the construction of the houses cheaper, because it is now very few people can afford the 2-bedroom.